you recognise the badge, you won't recognise Neil. This is Neil Sheperton, who's fantastic Elan Sprint this is. First of all, Neil, thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
How long have you had this car?
Nearly 20 years.
Really?
Yeah.
So it was relatively new when you bought it?
It was, had one owner from new, and I bought it damaged in 1983.
So you've done a lot of the restoration work yourself, you've not just bought it in this condition?
Yeah, it was in a sorry state when I bought it, but it had one owner from new and done about 18,000 miles when I bought it. So it was quite a special car even back then.
So you've put in a lot of work, a lot of money been spent on it. What's the car kind of worth nowadays if you were selling it?
Well, I always joke it's the only thing in my life which isn't for sale. But if it was for sale, I think it'd fetch high teens or 20,000, something like that.
You say it's the only thing in your life that's not for sale. I mean, have you built up an attachment to the car, obviously, over 20 years? Has it got a name?
No.
Good.
And if it did have, I wouldn't tell you.
Good, that's two right answers. Even if it's got a name, keep it secret. Let's talk about the whole Elan experience. I mean, was it always a car that you coveted?
Very much so, yeah. I can remember very clearly the first time I ever got in one, even today. It was a hell of an experience.
And what do you think makes that so special? Because other people have spoken about it in a similar way.
Well, I mean, it's quite a fast car by even today's standards, but 20 years ago, it was unbelievably fast. I mean, the main thing that surprises people, even now when they get in the car, is how quick it is off the mark. And that's because of its lightweight.
Right.
You know, it only weighs about 1,600 weight.
Right. And so the performance is kind of up there. What about the handling in terms of modern standards?
Well, it's fabulous. I mean, when you start off with such a lightweight shell and chassis as this, you know, it's not that difficult to get the suspension just right and just compliant.
Right.
Plus, I mean, obviously, you know, Lotus's biggest claim to fame is ride and handling, isn't it?
Yeah.
Suspension. So it handles fantastically well.
If you were giving advice to someone who's kind of perhaps considering buying obviously a second-hand one, but you know, one that is in need of restoration, what kind of advice would you give them? Don't do it.
You've got to be a car enthusiast.
Right.
You've got to want more than just a set of wheels. You've got to enjoy the whole process. You've got to buy into the whole thing. But you know, it is a car that you can take to pieces and restore and have it absolutely perfect if that is your desire.
Right.
You can also, you know, use the car, maybe not on a daily basis, but you can use it every week and it can be quite practical as well. You know, so you're not just buying a museum piece.
If someone is, going back to what we were talking about, considering restoring one, is there anything they should look for that is a particularly horrendous thing that can't be repaired in terms of taking it to bits and restoring?
Well, the main thing with any vehicle of this type is the chassis. If the chassis isn't right, then there's only one thing to do, and that's replace it. But you know, a brand new chassis for one of these will still cost you less than £1,000. So it's very affordable, very doable. Start off with a new chassis, no matter what other horror stories that you find during the restoration process. You know that you've got a good solid foundation that you've built on.
Have you ever been tempted or seduced by, I don't know, Johnny-come-latelys who claim to be the heir apparent to the Elan? You know, obviously one thinks of all the modern roadsters that are on the road now. Are you ever tempted by them?
Oh, definitely, yeah. I mean, I haven't got tunnel vision when it comes to you know, one type of car. I personally love sports cars and soft top cars, and if you can get the hood down, then I'll be in it.
One final question, one word answer. The Elise or the Elan, which do you want?
I can't answer that in one word. Both.
Both. Good answer, that'd be mine. Well, Neil, thanks for joining us. It's okay. Go on, what's her name?
I'm not telling you.
Scarlett. Cheers, Neil.
Okay.